There's a moment I still think about. A man sitting on the edge of his bed, shirt off, staring down at the carpet, unmoving. His wife had already fallen asleep, and the room was dark except for the hallway light spilling in. He told me later that was the night it really hit him. He wasn't angry. He wasn't sad. Just empty. His body hadn't betrayed him all at once. It was little by little, a softening, a slowing, a silent change that crept in and took root. No warning, no signpost. Just the slow realization that he no longer felt like himself, not in the way a man recognizes deep in his bones. And what struck me wasn't just his story. It was how many men before him had told me something eerily similar. Different towns, different careers, different faces. But the same quiet question behind their eyes. Where did I go? I'm Dr. Thomas Leighton. I've walked beside retired soldiers, steel workers, farmers, men who once moved mountains and now struggle to move out of bed. And time again, I've seen a pattern. Not in their age, not even in their genetics, but in something much simpler and often overlooked. Their breakfast plate. See, the body doesn't always speak in sharp pain or loud symptoms. Sometimes it speaks through fatigue, through fading intimacy, through a missing spark you can't quite name. And breakfast, that first thing you put in your body each morning, can quietly shape your hormones, your circulation, your very sense of manhood. Not in a dramatic way, but in slow, compounding steps. You may have been told that cereal, toast, juice, all those familiar morning comforts are a part of a balanced meal. But what if those very foods are part of the reason you no longer feel like the man you used to be? If this message speaks to you, type 1. If you're unsure, type 0. Either way, thank you for listening. Because what we eat in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. And for many men over 60, what they believe is healthy is quietly stealing the very blood flow and hormone balance they need to feel whole. Let me share what I've seen, again and again. A man walks into my office, his shoulders are slumped, voice quiet. He tells me he's tired, foggy, and his erections aren't what they used to be. He's worried, but he's not ready to talk about that part out loud. So I ask a simple question. What did you have for breakfast this morning? And more often than not, he says, bacon and eggs, maybe a little toast, glass of juice. We've been led to believe that bacon is harmless, maybe even a treat. But for men over 60, especially those feeling a slow decline, processed meats like bacon and sausage are some of the worst culprits hiding in plain sight. They're full of sodium, preservatives, and nitrates chemicals that inflame your arteries and suppress nitric oxide, the very molecule your body uses to get and maintain an erection. And here's the hard truth. Your penis isn't a mystery. It's not magic. It's blood flow. If your arteries are inflamed, if your nitric oxide is down, if testosterone is low, then of course your body won't respond like it once did. I remember one man, 67 years old, former firefighter, who told me, "Doc, I don't get those morning risings anymore." He laughed, but it wasn't a happy laugh. When we looked at his diet, breakfast was the first clue. Bacon and sausage every day. No vegetables, no healthy fats, just salt, chemicals, and protein stripped of life. We made a few simple changes. Swapped out the processed meat for wild-caught salmon, added some spinach, a few nuts. Within weeks, his energy was better. And the morning started returning. It's not a miracle, it's biology. Now, I wish I could tell you bacon is the only villain, but that would be too easy. The second common trap is one that's even more deceptive because it's dressed in bright boxes and labeled heart healthy. I'm talking about cereal. Even the ones that claim to be full of fiber, low in fat, good for your heart, can spike your blood sugar like a candy bar. When you flood your body with sugar first thing in the morning, even if it's hidden in so-called healthy cereals like granola or Raisin Bran, you send your insulin soaring. And that insulin spike is a hormone disruptor. What does that mean? It means testosterone drops. It means inflammation rises. It means blood vessels narrow and nitric oxide crashes. And every one of those things chips away at your ability to feel strong, alert, and yes, sexually alive. I had a patient once, a retired accountant, 69 years old, thought he was doing the right thing by eating cereal with skim milk every morning. He was foggy, irritable, and deeply frustrated by his declining performance in the bedroom. We removed the cereal, replaced it with real food, a boiled egg, a few slices of avocado, a sprinkle of chia seeds. 4 weeks later, his testosterone was up, his mood had lifted, and he smiled for the first time in months. It wasn't about pills, it was about breakfast. And here's where it gets even more interesting. Because many of these men also tell me, well, I don't eat cereal, but I do like my toast. Or a bagel with cream cheese. And again, I pause. Because white bread and bagels, those soft, familiar staples, are made from refined flour that turns to sugar in your blood within minutes. No fiber, no nutrients, no balance. Just a quick insulin rush, followed by the same hormonal crash. One man mid-70s said to me, "Doc, I'm just tired all day. I feel dull. I don't feel like a man anymore." His breakfast? A plain bagel, toasted, every morning. When we took it out and added whole grain sprouted toast with almond butter, maybe a boiled egg on the side, he came back in tears. "Doc, I thought I was just getting old, but I feel alive again." And that's what I want for you. Because this isn't about perfection. It's not about cutting every joy out of your life. It's about listening to what your body has been trying to tell you all along. If you're finding this helpful or you're just starting to think differently about your health after 60, consider hitting the subscribe button. That way, you won't miss future insights made just for men like you. You know, one of the things I've learned after decades of listening to men truly listening is this. It's rarely about vanity. It's not about abs or image. When a man over 60 says he's worried about his performance, he's really saying he misses feeling connected. He misses feeling capable, present, alive. That's why I take these conversations seriously, even if they start with something as small as a slice of toast or a bowl of cereal, because small things add up. Let me share another one most men never see coming. Orange juice. For years, it was called the breakfast of champions, full of vitamin C, good for the immune system, bright and energizing. But what they don't tell you is this. Store-bought orange juice, even the so-called pure stuff, has been processed, filtered, and stripped of nearly everything but sugar. It's liquid candy, and drinking it first thing in the morning is like flipping a hormonal alarm switch, only it doesn't wake you up. It wears you down. It raises insulin. It crashes testosterone. It inflames the very vessels that carry blood where you need it most. One of my patients, 66 years old, former Navy mechanic, drank a glass of orange juice every morning like clockwork. Thought it was keeping him healthy, but his energy was drained. He couldn't concentrate, and his erections had become rare, faint memories. We cut the juice, replaced it with a tall glass of lemon water and a little green tea. Just that shift, that one step, helped restore his morning clarity and helped his body start signaling again in ways he thought were gone for good. It doesn't take much to turn the tide, and yet we're surrounded by foods that seem innocent but are quietly stealing something sacred. Take muffins, donuts, toaster pastries. You might say, "Come on, Doc. I know those aren't great for me." But here's the thing. It's not just the sugar. It's the mix of refined carbs, processed oils, and hidden trans fats that make these treats a hormonal wrecking ball. They spike your blood sugar, then crash it. They inflame your arteries, just like a cigarette might. And worse, they numb you, slowly. Not just in your body, but in your spirit. One man told me, "I thought that muffin was a small indulgence, but I didn't realize it was dulling me every single day." When he made the switch to whole foods, eggs, berries, even a little protein smoothie, he came back weeks later, grinning. "I didn't think it could happen at my age," he said. But it's happening. These aren't miracles. They're signs your body still wants to fight for you if you'll give it a fighting chance. And sometimes the foods that hurt us most are the ones we thought were helping. Let's talk about margarine. For decades, men were told butter was bad. That margarine was the modern, heart-healthy choice. But margarine, with its hydrogenated oils and trans fats, isn't a real food. It's a factory creation. And it does something quiet, but deadly. It hardens your arteries. It lowers good cholesterol and raises the bad. It robs your body of the ability to move blood not just to your heart, but to the most delicate places, the ones that define intimacy, confidence, masculinity. A retired teacher once sat in my office, confused. "I eat light," he said. "I switched to margarine years ago." But his libido had dropped off a cliff. His hands and feet were cold. He hadn't had a firm erection in years. I showed him the science, the real damage. And I gave him simple swaps, olive oil, avocado, even a little grass-fed butter. He called me weeks later, voice softer but steadier. "I didn't think it was possible to feel this way again," he said. "Not at 68. That's what I want every man to understand. It's not about giving up everything. It's about giving your body what it needs to restore what was lost." And now, the last one I want to mention is perhaps the most surprising of all. Yogurt. Not the plain, full-fat kind, but the sweetened, flavored, low-fat yogurts marketed as gut-healthy or light. They seem harmless, even smart, but most of those little containers are loaded with sugar, sometimes 15 to 25 grams in a single serving. That's more than a candy bar. And the problem isn't just the sugar, it's what's missing, too. The healthy fats that stabilize hormones gone. The natural nutrients your body needs to absorb testosterone-building vitamins gone. What's left is a snack that spikes insulin, lowers testosterone, and in many cases, raises estrogen. Yes, you heard that right. Some flavored yogurts contain soy additives or milk from hormone-treated cows, both of which can nudge a man's hormones in the wrong direction. I had a man in his early 60s, health-conscious, disciplined. He ate a cup of low-fat yogurt with fruit every morning, believing he was doing everything right. But his belly was growing, his mood was flat, and his desire almost gone. We swapped the flavored yogurt for full-fat Greek yogurt, just plain. Added some blueberries, pumpkin seeds. He came back in a month with a different look in his eye. "Doc, I feel myself again." That's what I want for you. Not perfection, not guilt. Just the chance to feel like yourself again in your skin, in your body, in your life. You've now heard about 7 breakfast foods that quietly damage a man's erections after 60. But knowledge alone won't change your life. The real power is in the morning. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and choose something different. Because you deserve more than survival. You deserve to feel strong, capable, alive. And the best part? Your body hasn't forgotten how. It just needs the right fuel to remember. Coming up, I'll walk you through a morning routine I've recommended to hundreds of men, a simple, realistic approach to breakfast that supports testosterone, restores circulation, and can begin to rebuild what time and habit have taken. We're not chasing youth. We're restoring dignity. Stay with me. There's something sacred about the early hours. The world hasn't fully stirred yet. The light is soft. The house is quiet. And in that stillness, your body is listening. What you feed it in that first hour, it matters more than most men ever realize. So let me share a morning routine. Nothing extreme, no powders, no gimmicks, just a gentle shift toward foods that support blood flow, hormones, and that quiet sense of masculine strength that every man deserves to hold on to. It starts with hydration. Before you reach for coffee or food, drink a full glass of water. Add a squeeze of lemon if you like. That little flush reawakens the kidneys, the liver, the digestive tract. It jumpstarts blood flow and can even nudge your metabolism back into rhythm. Then move gently. Just 5 minutes. Not a workout. Just a reminder to your body. We're still here, still moving, still alive. A walk to the mailbox. Light stretching. A few deep breaths by the window. These small rituals reintroduce you to yourself. And when it's time to eat, here's what I recommend, not because it's trendy, but because I've seen it work again and again. Start with protein. 1 or 2 pasture-raised eggs, cooked in olive oil or grass-fed butter. Simple, familiar, but deeply nourishing. Pair that with a few slices of avocado, maybe a small handful of almonds or walnuts. These healthy fats help stabilize your hormones and keep your energy steady. And on the side, Add a serving of berries, blueberries, raspberries, whatever's in season. They're packed with antioxidants that protect your blood vessels and gently support circulation. If you're more of a smoothie man, that's fine too. Just keep it real, no pre-mixed sugar bombs from the store. Use unsweetened almond or oat milk, a scoop of clean protein powder, maybe a spoonful of flaxseed or chia, and half a banana or some frozen berries. That kind of breakfast, whether solid or sipped, does something powerful. It tells your body you care. Not in a flashy, ego-driven way, but in the quiet language of respect. Now, I mentioned a morning drink, and many of my older patients have told me it's become one of their most trusted tools. Here's the recipe. Once again, start with warm water, about 8 to 10 ounces. Add a tablespoon of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar. Just a pinch of cayenne pepper, not enough to burn, just enough to wake things up. And if you have it, a teaspoon of beetroot powder. It's rich in nitrates, which support blood flow, especially to those small but vital arteries involved in sexual health. Mix it gently. Sip it slowly. Some call it a natural pre-workout. I call it a morning tune-up, a little engine oil for the day ahead. One gentleman I treated, a 72-year-old widower who'd stopped expecting much from his body, tried this drink alongside his new breakfast routine. He called a few weeks later, voice warm, almost surprised. "Doc, I stood up straighter this week," he said. "Not just physically, I felt like myself again." And that's the part no one talks about. When a man feels strong again, it's not just about what's happening in the bedroom. It's how he speaks, how he walks, how he meets the day. I've spent enough years walking alongside men to know this. You don't need to be told what to do. You need to be reminded that you still matter, that your body hasn't given up on you, that even if life has weathered you, you still get to shape the morning. And when you choose to feed your body with real food, clean protein, healthy fats, whole nutrients, your body responds like an old friend rising from a long nap. It remembers how to circulate, how to energize, how to stand tall. You may not get all your strength back in 1 week or even 1 month, but every breakfast is a quiet vote for the man you still want to be. I often say, we spend too many years putting others first. Our careers, our families, our duties. And by the time we hit 60, we realize we've forgotten how to care for ourselves, not in a selfish way, but in a grounded, quiet, life-affirming way. So here's what I'd ask you to consider. When you wake up tomorrow, before the coffee, before the news, before the noise, sit for a moment. Breathe. Put your hand on your chest. Ask, what would serve me today? And then give yourself that gift. It might be a boiled egg. It might be a short walk. It might be a drink that reminds your body to wake up gently, but with purpose. Because here's the truth, friend. Your decline is not inevitable. You're not too far gone. And your manhood, your real manhood, has never just been about what happens in the bedroom. It's about waking up with purpose. It's about looking in the mirror and recognizing the man looking back. It's about knowing deep down that you're still in there. Even if the world has gotten louder, even if life has worn you down, even if you've made mistakes, there's still a part of you that wants to rise, to reach, to reconnect. And I want you to know that part of you is worth feeding every morning with every choice, quietly, patiently, powerfully. I've seen thousands of men begin again, not by doing everything at once, but by changing one thing, one breakfast, one quiet moment, one decision to stop settling for normal and start listening to the deeper wisdom of their own body. You've heard the dangers, you've seen the patterns, you've felt them in your own life. Now you get to decide. Will tomorrow's breakfast be just another repeat of yesterday's rut? Or will it be your first step toward coming back to life? If this message touched you, perhaps share it quietly, as it was shared with you. And if you'd like to support more honest, grounded content for men like us, men over 60 navigating a new kind of strength, consider leaving a comment or a small contribution. Every voice matters, and I read every word. Thank you for walking this path with me.